time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Huber, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah.
Do you know you could have kidney disease and not even know it? 9 out of 10 people who have stage 3 chronic kidney disease do not know it. The rate of kidney failure for African Americans is 3 times higher than among Caucasians. And one reason for this is that they are not aware when they have earlier stages of kidney disease, at a time treatment could prevent the damage from progressing to the point when dialysis or kidney transplantation is necessary. In addition, due to high rates of diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease, Blacks and African Americans have an increased risk of developing kidney failure. African Americans need to be aware of these risk factors and visit their doctor or clinic regularly to check their blood sugar, blood pressure, urine protein, and kidney function. Be aware. Get tested. The life you save may be your own. For more information, contact urbankidneyalliance.org.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney one. My girl, and say, this is. This is your girl, Bianca Della Brisky. I am on location. That's right. We have this woman here, and she has been in since the coronavirus has started. 1 whole year inside of the same place, not going out. Who could have believed it? I got the interview with her, but she threw the Lysol can at. Now she's spraying me. Hey, listen, I don't have corona. Stop spraying me, but I don't have corona. Come on out here. Come on out here. We want you to look. You can't stay in there forever. It can be depressing. It can be hard in there. Come on out. Come on out. I want to get the story. Come on out. You got to be nice when you're trying to get a story. Come on out, sister. Come on out, girl. Miss Crossland, come on out. Come on. I know one thing, though. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, happy Women's Month, happy Kidney Month, Kidney Awareness Month. Ain't that something? Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Mm-hmm. You're right. Now, bless the Lord, oh my soul, and forget not all of his benefits. That's right. Psalm 103 and 2. And let me tell you, the guest that I'm about to introduce to you know all of his benefits. How about that? You hear me? Yes. All right. I'm going to introduce her now. Okay, we got minister. That's right. Not only a minister in the house, but we have an author in the house and a singer in the house. A woman of many talents and many gifts, highly anointed and blessed. She knows what she's doing and she knows which way she's going. How about that? I introduce to you Melanie Rochford. Welcome to Lisa Baxter Show. Woo-hoo. Hey.
Hey, how are you, Aunt Lisa?
Oh, I'm alive and kicking. I'm so glad I got you on this show. How long have I been trying to get you?
It's been a very long time. Yeah, probably a couple years now.
I got you now. That's what's important. Oh, I got you now.
Happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad to have you. And so many people are going to know and learn something about you on tonight. Let me see. How are we going to get this thing rolling? Okay, we're going to start. I'll ask you about what kind of job or work have you done now or in the past? We'll start with that.
Now, so most of the work I do now is ministry based for New Life Cathedral. And I also have my own businesses. So I have a business called Voicemail where I write and publish my own books. And I also have an organization called the Kingdom Daughters, which is a ministry geared toward the daughters of pastors and bishops, the daughters and granddaughters of pastors and bishops, and also to women of faith at large. But we really try to target those young women and seasoned women who grew up. I didn't mention my father is a pastor, and so growing up as the child of a pastor already has its own complexities. I say it has its privileges, but it also has its pressures. And so God really impressed on my heart to reach out to other pastors' daughters who may go through the same things that I was going through growing up. And so the Kingdom Daughters and Voicemail I also help with the Lois Rochford Foundation, which is a foundation that was started in honor of my late mother when she passed away. It's been this year will make 7 years, and the Lois Rochford Foundation gives scholarships to young women or a young man if a young man applies as well. And we're also getting ready to launch a program to empower young girls in the community in Brooklyn. In the past, I've worked in the media industry. I've worked for New York City as a government employee. I've worked at a university before. I've worked in so many different fields. I've also worked as a singer. I've toured Europe and the Middle East even, singing with the Harlem Gospel Choir. So I've tried to maximize every talent. So I've done so many different kinds of jobs, and then in addition to having my own business.
Oh, wow. Now, this is hilarious and funny because you answered all of the questions in a nutshell, but I know how to navigate this thing. So we're going to root right back into it. Now, all right. So, okay. So let's go with you also came from a wonderful family. You had a beautiful upbringing,
Thank God.
And I know you to be hardworking because you're also over the youth department in the church as well.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've been doing youth work at the church, and even also before I was doing youth work at the local church, New Life Cathedral. I also would help out Dunamis Covenant Connection, which is a larger organization that the church is a part of. In addition to, at one point, I was the national youth president of the Pilgrim Assemblies under Archbishop Boyd Brown, and then under Archbishop William Hudson III. And so I did that for 7 years. And I've been, I would say, over the youth probably for the last maybe 10 years or so at New Life Cathedral. And that's one of my passions, teaching young people the Word of God, also getting them to discover and form spiritually their relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, helping them to identify their gifts, their talents, their passions, their skills, pushing them to pursue education, to take education seriously, pushing them to build community with one another. You know, even during the pandemic, it's been a challenge. We've shifted our meeting onto Zoom. And so I found that that gave them even a greater voice to be able to express themselves and how they were feeling. Our young people go through so much. We don't really realize that just like adults go through a lot of things, teenagers, preteens, or tweens, they go through a lot of things too, and trying to navigate that in this complex world amidst all this technology, so many things vying for your attention and for your affections. You have to really help them and be there with them to help them make the right choices. And so that's something that I really take great pride in being able to do.
Well, you know, you have a great passion for the youth. I love the youth myself. I was over the youth department for 13 years, also in New Life Cathedral. And, you know, it's something about them that your heart just go out to them and you just want to do all you can for them. I can be dead. Well, I want to say dead, but I can be extremely tired, exhausted. But if I encounter a young person or something like that, I will go all out of my way to help them through it. And I see that you have the same thing. What I love about you, you have your own way. You know, your father had his way, your mother had her way, I had my way, and Lord knows you had your way. I am so proud of you with that. And you took your own journey with it. You know, you took the learning and the tools with you, and you shot right out there, and you just doing your thing. I ain't mad at you. So, okay, now you did 2 books, and you did a CD. So let me, you know, talk about your 2 books, or how did you arrive at even writing books?
Okay. Well, I published 2 children's books. I did bring them. More recently, I published a prayer journal. So this is my latest book, When You Pray. It's a prayer journal. Jesus is Alive and The Very First Christmas are my 2 children's books that I published. And as you can tell, I was really, you know, trying to use images of color because I work with a lot of Black young people. And I wanted the children to know, number one, historically, Jesus looked more like that than any Eurocentric image you would ever see anyway. But I wanted them to see a more historically accurate and also an image of Christ that reflected them so that they knew, you know, they don't have to look to a white savior. That's really big for me as a Black woman. That's really big for me. And then also as someone who, again, has studied and knows that the historical Jesus was a man of color, you know, a brown man, a Black man, we would say. I did the When You Pray journal because I have a single out called When You Pray. The single is a song that was written by Walter Hawkins, the late Walter Hawkins of the Hawkins family, of course, and it was performed and recorded by Tremaine Hawkins before I was even born. And I really gravitated to that song. I was introduced to that song by a man named Stanley Brown, and I recorded it back in 2019 along with a full project, which will be released this year. But for right now, the single is available on all digital outlets. I am a firm believer in the power of prayer. I'm a firm believer in leaning in and walking by faith because we have to walk by faith and not by sight. And I say that because there's so much we don't know and we don't see. Even with the pandemic, we are fighting an unseen enemy. We don't know where it is, who has it, who doesn't have it, how it's going to morph next, or what to do. It's an unseen enemy. And so we have to pray daily for the protection and the covering of God, that He keep our families and keep our children and our seniors, everyone safe. And with all the political upheaval we were experiencing at the same time during the pandemic and the racial upheaval, so much stuff going on, I really leaned on the power of prayer. And I love your skit in the beginning, because I was that person that wasn't going anywhere. Like I barely go anywhere now because I can work from home. But I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing much of anything. And that can become very taxing emotionally when you're used to being connected to people, used to being in community. You're not seeing your family. You're not seeing I had about 10 friends give birth during the pandemic. I couldn't meet their children. I couldn't go see their children. It was really taking a toll on me. And so that's why I created the prayer journal, because it gave me the opportunity to really write things down and write prayer requests, write the scripture of the day, write what I'm asking God to teach me, what I'm grateful for, that sort of thing. And so I love writing, and I hope, people that have received the books, they really enjoyed them. So if anyone would like to, I can tell you how to purchase the books.
Oh, put the website out there. I ain't mad at you. Come on here. What?
Okay. You can purchase the books at Voicemel, that's VOICEMEL, like Mel, voicemel.com. And the books are up there, and you can also find a link to purchase the single if you so desire.
Wow. Now that's what I'm talking about. Hey, you got to have your stuff on hand. You never know who's going to ask you what. So now what about your first book? I know I loved your first book as well.
So my first book was called Launch Time.
Right.
And that book was written in 2008, published in 2009, so over 10 years ago. I wrote that book because at the time I was still in my 20s, and I was doing a lot of studies about millennials. This is when the whole millennial conversation was new. Now it's, the oldest millennials are like 40 now. So this was a good 12, 13 years ago, where they were hitting the workforce in droves, and corporate America was so stunned by, like, who are these kids coming in here? They want to be the boss from day one. They started labeling us entitled, selfish, and all these sort of things. And, by my observation, I realized that sometimes our expectation and our reality did not match up. And so I wrote the book Launch Time, The Fast Guide to Making Your Career Take Off, as an encouragement to millennials. It's a really short book. It was like 60-something pages. And it was really to encourage them to stick with the work. Sometimes you find a job, it may not be in your chosen field, but stick it out, learn what you can until you can transition. How you should treat people, saving your money, all kinds of things were in that book. And I really want to re-release it after I update it, maybe a volume 2 or something.
Wow. I was reading it, and I saw so much that you were able to help people in there. And I even saw some good stuff in there that I could tell and pass on. I told a lot of young people about it, youth about it. I mean, I love the way you're helping people with jobs, with college, and with all kinds of stuff. And you need that. Sometimes you don't have that push in your home, or you don't have that push in your community. You have nobody to get you out there. And this book just, bam, it hit it on the head. You know what I mean? It went all the way there. You know what I'm saying? So I really like that one. I really did. And you just did well with all of that. You also went to college. Talk about college. Maybe somebody out there want to go to school, maybe want to go to college or what have you.
Yes. Well, if you're watching and you want to go to college, it's never too late. I just want to encourage you. I was talking to my aunt. She's in her 60s, and she didn't go to college. She started working and did very well in her career and even in her entrepreneurship. She started working for the government, became an entrepreneur, has done great for herself. But now, as she's thinking about retiring, she wants to go back to school. And I'm encouraging her, listen, go for it. Don't let age be your cage, as my dad would say. Anyone that is younger and you're thinking about going to college, go for it. Listen, you have your state schools, your city schools, public universities. You also have private universities. If there's a career path or a vocation you're really interested in, maybe you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman or woman, an accountant. Maybe you want to work in fashion or entertainment, or maybe you want to work in whatever the field may be. Every major is available under the sun for the most part, And so I remember when I wanted to go to college, I only applied to one school because I knew where I wanted to go. I was dead set. Thank goodness I got accepted. How about that? But I applied to Hofstra University, which is in Long Island, Hempstead, Long Island. And I did get accepted. And I was sharing with someone this story this week because even my guidance counselor was like, you should apply to more than one school. You don't just choose one school. You apply to more than one, da-da-da-da-da. Back then, I wasn't listening to anybody. They're like, at least apply at CUNY school or a SUNY school, New York schools. I was like, no, I know where I want to go. And I got accepted. I majored in mass communication at Hofstra, and I really enjoyed that. I still love media. I still love communication. It was a great experience for me because it expanded my worldview. So I know that college, everyone won't go, and everyone doesn't have to go. There's other career paths and ways to make a living. But what I valued about my college experience is it exposed me to new people, new cultures. I was able to meet Margaret Thatcher from England. She was living at the time, and she came to visit the university, and I was chosen to present her with a gift when she arrived. And so I was exposed to so many different opportunities. I interned for Fox 5, WNYW. I ended up getting a job there after college. I interned for VH1 while I was there. I produced my own TV show as my senior project. So I've always loved television and radio. I was a disc jockey for the classical show on the radio station at the school. So again, opportunities, relationships, open doors. That's a part of the college experience. Leadership. I pledged Delta while I was there. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Oh, my sorors. I don't know who's watching. Divine Nine. And so, again, just exposed to so much I didn't really know about growing up. My mom, she started college. She never finished. She was highly intelligent, but she just kind of went another way. And my father, he went to a city school, and then he went to like a Bible college. And so my experience, I lived on campus for a couple of years, was really different from theirs. And so I loved it. Back then, I didn't really know about HBCUs. And I know not every Black person is going to go to an HBCUs. But if you want to go, look them up. See if they have your major. See where you want to go. And if you want to go to what they call a PWI, a private white institution, listen, do what works for you. Don't let anyone try to force you to do anything.
That acronym you just said, tell them what that means.
HBCU?
Yeah.
A historically Black college or university. So those are the colleges that were founded by us, for us, and by us.
I'm mad at you. Come on here. Fantabulous. Yes. Now, you didn't only, what was the hardest thing about college, and what would you say the easiest thing about college when you went?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. When I got accepted to college, my father threatened me and said, I'm only giving you one semester to prove yourself, because I wasn't the most focused student in high school. I'm one of those students that was like, you're really smart, so you don't make a lot of effort, because you can just do a little reading and still get an 80, an 85, maybe even a 90. And so I leaned on my natural ability rather than applying pressure and concerted effort to try to get a 95 or an A average. You know what I mean? And so I know there's students out there like me that are a little lazy. And my father was like, listen, I'm not paying thousands of dollars for you to waste my money and my time and your time. And so I got myself together after that. And I said, I'm going to try harder and I'm going to do better. And that first semester, I think every semester except one, I made the dean's list. I always had over a 3.0 average, but balance, time management. Time management in school is everything, because no parent is coming to wake you up in the morning. No teacher is calling you, asking you, where's your homework? Where's that paper? You're just going to get an F. So it's your first taste of adulthood. Can you be responsible? Can you do what you have been assigned to do? You have to feed yourself. You got to do your laundry. You got to keep your room. Nobody's, now I had a roommate and I had suite mates. And so we had to work together, create a schedule. Who's cleaning the bathroom this week? We can't leave dishes all over. You can't leave your socks and things all over. Keep your stuff clean. Mom been telling you that your whole life. So now you better put it into practice while you're living with people. These are strangers until you become friends. And so I think that's part of it. It's a new world. It's a new experience. You may be living with people you don't know, different religions, different ethnicities, different values. You know what I mean? And I remember having some challenges with that, kind of getting to know people for who they were, at the time, and, having people accept me for who I am, coming from a very religious background. Everybody isn't raised like that. So as soon as I got to school, there's alcohol. There's guys there. I'm still young, like, wait a minute now, what's going on? Everything's happening so fast. You need discipline. You also need self-control. And if we be honest, there's drugs on campus too. There's parties. There's a lot of things going on. I used to go to parties here and there, but I was a wallflower. So people be like, why are you here? You're just sitting on the wall. But I love music. You know what I mean? I love music. I love to have a good time. Not everything should be demonized. I don't tell people that you shouldn't go to no party. I don't tell people that. Go and experience it. If it's getting crazy, leave. You know what's right. You have your gut instinct. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes we try to shield our kids from everything. Don't go to prom. Don't do this. Don't do that. Then they get out into the real world and don't know what's going on. No, I'm going to teach you how to manage and navigate the world in which you inhabit. I was a Christian when I went to school, and so certain things I'm not going to engage in. And I wasn't afraid to say I'm a Christian. I was in the gospel choir. I was in the Christian club. We would pray, read the Bible. We had concerts, singing gospel music. Hundreds of people would come out. And so you find those people, you find your tribe, so to speak. So you know how you've been raised. You know what you've been taught. You know what's right. Train up a child in the way they should go. Listen, train them up.
All right.
Come on.
You better go ahead. Hallelujah. I ain't mad at you. You ain't never lied now. You done so much. You know what I mean? You couldn't even believe that you've done so much. Now, you even traveled to Africa. You traveled. Come on. Tell us a little bit about that African experience.
Oh, yes. I've been to the motherland 3 times. So twice with my school, Drew University. So I went to Ghana first in 2015 with Drew Theological School. I graduated from seminary in 2016 and 2017. And so as a part of the graduation requirements, you have to do a cross-cultural experience. And my cross-cultural experience was to Ghana. And so we went there, and Ghana is absolutely beautiful. The weather at the time, I went in January. The weather was absolutely beautiful. We stayed at a Presbyterian hospitality center. And so it was owned by the Presbyterian church there. And you had like your own room, your own bathroom. And of course, everything is there is not like it is here. But you did have your own bathroom, your own shower and things. We went to so many places. We went to the slave castles, where you were able to see these castles that were built for slaves and slave traders. So there were like places where they would hold the slaves until the ships would come in. And then you would go through, the slaves would go through the door of no return. I really should be saying enslaved Africans, because they were not slaves. They were enslaved by captors. And so you learn a lot about the history of the enslaved African people. And you can feel, when you walk in those castles, you can feel it. I don't know how to describe it, but you can just feel the presence, the sorrow, the heaviness of what our people went through. And when you hear the stories, honestly, it's horrifying. And we did that, but we also worshiped. We went to different churches and worshiped. with people. We met different pastors. We went to seminaries. We went to the post office. We went to botanical gardens. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Delicious food. It was like going home. Really, that was good. My second trip to Africa was to South Africa with Drew as well. Now that trip, the focus of that trip was on health and global health and investigating Western medicine, which is like the medical system we have here and in Europe, and traditional medicine, where in Africa you have those who are traditional healers. They practice traditional healing. And so we were able to go to hospitals. We went to kidney centers while we were there. And it was,
Really?
yes, it was very interesting to find out that they don't have enough kidney machines in the country. And one of the things that, I found very, very disheartening was if you are elderly and if you are poor and someone else needs the machine, people sometimes will die because there just weren't enough machines. And we talked about the HIV/AIDS crisis. We talked about maternal health. We visited hospitals. We also visited traditional healers who would perform ceremonies and things like that. And we visited markets where they buy their materials, whether it was like bones or different things that they would use for traditional ceremonies. And I spent 3 weeks in South Africa. In Durban, which is like where Zulu country is, Shaka Zulu and the whole Zulu nation. Durban, that's like on the West Coast. Pretoria, we spent time there. We spent time in Johannesburg and also in Cape Town. South Africa is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I could literally live there. Like, I could live there in a heartbeat. And only thing that really, really bothered me was because of apartheid. Here we experience racism, Jim Crow, Jane Crow, and all of that, the 50s, 60s, and then the Civil Rights Act came in the 60s. But, apartheid lingered longer in South Africa. And so you can really feel that racism there. And there's a caste system almost, like white, Indian and Asian, colored, which is those who are black and white, or what we would call mixed, they call colored. So those light-skinned blacks that are mixed with white. And then on the bottom, black, African. And so the stratosphere of discrimination, and you could sense it. It was very strong and it was very real. But I still loved it. It was a beautiful place, a beautiful experience. And then finally, I went to Egypt in 2017. Now, I went to Egypt by myself. That's not something I would encourage anyone to do, but I did do it. And I say don't do that, especially as a woman, because in other countries, there can be an aggression toward women that, here it's different. There's aggression here, but some places in the Middle East, it's on another level. And so I can't say I ever felt in danger, but I did have some questionable moments where I was like, I'm going to go on back to the hotel at this point.
I know that's right.
But I was able to swim in the Red Sea and meet wonderful people. I made a really good friend there from Germany who was also there pretty much alone. And her and I still keep in touch on Facebook and Instagram. And so I love the motherland. I want to go to every country. I hope to go back soon if we're able to travel. And I've also been to South Korea. I went to South Korea in 2018. And South Korea was amazing. I could live there too. If I could get the language, I could live there too. It was very urban, really smart people, really progressive. When I was there, they were wearing masks, which I always found very interesting. Like, why did so many people have on masks? But I think it was due to the air quality. And South Korea has a strong Christian population because of missionaries in like the 1800s. And so the nation is very, there's all religions, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of mega churches. I think the biggest church in the world is in South Korea, like 800,000 members. Big, huge churches. And I was able to visit some of them. and worship and perform. We had like a little choir we went with, and we got to sing there and everything at the churches. And so that was really nice.
Beautiful. See, this is what it's all about. You live and you take something back with you. You learn something from each experience in life. You know what I mean? Whatever you're doing and wherever you're at. You know what I'm saying? So now you also had an aunt on dialysis. So did you learn anything while you were in Africa about dialysis, as well as having family members with any type of illness in the family?
Yes. So I did learn, about how our diet and our environment as well can cause us to really be in a hard position when it comes to our health. And, as I've shared with you, Aunt Lisa, earlier this week, we were talking about living in food deserts and not having access to healthy foods, and not even sometimes having agency over your ability to choose what you eat or what's available to you. And so while I was in South Africa, I did learn that, the kidney crisis was great there as well. And I was like, wow, this is so great amongst our people in general. And so, like I said, I was so disheartened to hear that they really needed more dialysis machines. We visited a kidney center where we were able to see, patients coming in and being put on the machine. There was some privately owned, and of course, hospitals had machines as well. But there has to be some work done in that area. And, my aunt, like you said, Aunt Marilyn, she was on dialysis. And so was my godfather, the late Bishop Brown. He was on dialysis as well for years. He never let that stop him. Neither did Aunt Marilyn. Aunt Marilyn was like, until she was in the hospital, like if she wasn't in the hospital, she was going to come to church. She was going to take care of the grandkids, do what she needed to do. Like, she really didn't let anything stop her. Neither did Archbishop Brown. He was like, even the day, I remember the day he passed like at night. He was planning on being in church the next morning for like a consecration for a bishop. Like, he was always like, I'm going to dialysis in the morning and bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? But I think that we do have to address our diet, and we have to also normalize changing the way we eat. So I love soul food. We shouldn't eat it every day. We have to learn how to balance our meals. Less fried foods, more baked foods, more fruit, more vegetables. You may not like, your broccoli, but try something else. Maybe you like spinach. Maybe you like carrots. There's other things that you can try to really balance that plate out. And maybe sometimes even go meatless for a meal. I know sometimes we center our meals around meat. So chicken, steak, maybe, try something without a little meat, or maybe a meat substitute. Again, everything in moderation for our health.
Wow. That is so true. That is so true. You got to try something else. You got to do something else. You got to do what works. You got to do your homework. You got to get tested. You know what I mean? And you cannot let this kill you or let it take you out. It don't have to. If I didn't have so much faith, I wouldn't have been able to do dialysis for 12 years. I had my transplant almost 5 years. I was determined not to let nothing kill me, and neither was my 6 siblings that went on dialysis, my 2 aunts, my uncle, my mother-in-law. We was some fighting people.
Right.
We believe in fighting, giving the devil more than a black eye, but cutting his head off,
That's right.
Type of thing. So I'm glad that you learned something, because sometimes when people are sick in a family, or people are sick, period, even if a friend or a neighbor, people sometimes get scared or drawn back, and they won't get involved. They won't find out. They won't inquire. They won't help. But if you're a little bit educated about it or learn something about it, because sometimes the person just needs somebody to talk to, or somebody to listen, or somebody just to know something that they feel. And a lot of times they want to talk to somebody that's dealing with the same thing, but they still would need the support of their family, support of the community and stuff like that.
Well, thank you. So you're always educating us.
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh my goodness. God knows all things. He truly does, Well, let me see. Is there anything we forgot? Anything you'd like to add? Because I might want you to sing a little something or put something out there. A little, a little, a verse, a little verse, a one-word thing or something.
I don't think we forgot anything. I think we talked about a lot of things, ministry and health and the products that are available and yeah, family. I think we've covered faith.
How you helping the community now, and even how we're going to be working together,
Yes.
you know, with Dialysis and Rise Up East New York.
All right.
Yeah, and the Dialysis Centers Incorporated. Yep.
Yes.
You know, so, yeah. So
Thank you.
We family. You have an event coming up July, I believe. What you said, July or August? You're going to be doing something. You can mention a little bit of that.
I will talk about that. So I want to first say thank you to Aunt Lisa, because with her work that she's doing with Rise Up East New York, she has introduced me to a wonderful coalition and team of people at Dialysis who are helping the East New York community take charge of their health. And they reached out to me with regard to the Lois E. Rochford Foundation, and a program that I had conceived last year called DALLS. And DALLS is an acronym for Daughters of Lady Lois Succeed. And I really felt impressed in my heart to create this program for young women in the community, particularly like high school age young women, maybe a little beyond high school. And we're going to be focusing on health and wellness, financial fitness, communication and conflict resolution, and also the pursuit of purpose. And so we're looking to partner with Rise Up East New York in reaching the community, young ladies in the community, and also tackling some health challenges that at a young age, if we can teach young people how to eat nutritious meals, prepare nutritious meals, also be fit in terms of, and fit not just is a look per se, because we all have different body types and that sort of thing. We're all not going to be a size 0 or a 4 or whatever. I'm not that. I've barely ever been that. We're going to be all our different sizes, but we can be healthy and we can get our physical movement in there and work on our bodies, get that heart rate going. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Black women. So start young, getting that exercise, that physical activity in there. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing from July 10th to August 21st, I believe. Every Saturday, we're starting the program to be able to reach these young ladies in the community. We want to make it fun. We want to make it lively. We want to make it interesting. We want to build a camaraderie amongst young women. Sometimes young women, they portray us as catty and this and that. No, we can have sisterhood. We can have friendship. We can give back to one another. We can support one another. And we can teach our young ladies to do the same. We don't have to live in a Real Housewives culture, and I know a lot of you probably watch those kind of programs, Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives. It's fun for entertainment, but it's not fun in real life, And so we have to really teach people how to relate to one another, how to be in healthy relationship, how to resolve conflict, how to love, how to receive and give love. And so I'm hoping this program would help somebody.
I believe it will. I truly believe it will. Let me see. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to, or anybody in particular you need to say anything encouraging to? You've been encouraging through the whole thing, tell you the truth. There's nothing left about the encouragement so much, but who would you give a shout out to? Anybody out there, anyone out there at all? Anybody, any organization, anything?
Oh, well, I definitely got to shout out my family, the Rochford family, both immediate and extended. I love all my Rochford family. My cousin Paris was on here, I think last week.
Last week.
Yeah, I love my family. And I want to also shout out my New Life Cathedral Church family. Some of you are watching. I saw Helen and Pastor Carol. I saw Blessed Susie. So many people who I've grown up knowing and gotten to know and love over the last several years. Thank you all for tuning in. My Dunamis family and Hofstra, Drew, Delta Sigma Theta, Rise Up East New York. All of you out there that are watching, shout out to you, just tuning in. And of course, Aunt Lisa, thank you.
You welcome, you welcome, you welcome. I had your dad on the show too. He wanted your mother to be with him on there. Yeah, he did. And I said, if she wasn't ready at the time to want to, come on. So he done it by himself. He did such a good job. I did it upstairs in his office.
Wow.
My husband Mitch, he filmed the whole thing and everything. And it's still on there. I've been doing the Lisa Baxter show for 10 years,
Yeah.
So I've been making my rounds and doing my thing, because this is a resourceful show and people want to know things and you have to be able to teach them stuff. Sometimes when you just kill them with so much sickness, you got to give them some glory up in there somewhere, some peace in there, some kind of way out, some resources. So that's what it's all about. I can't change. That's how it's going to be. That's how it always been, as far as the help going on, but I love you to the moon and back. I appreciate you, your life and everything that you're doing. I'm proud of you and keep doing what you're doing. And I guess I'm going to end the show. We usually do it for 30 minutes, but I was allowed a little more time, because there's no show after, and sometimes I do go over, God help me. But but I do appreciate it. And you keep doing what you're doing. Okay, love?
Oh, love you, Aunt Lisa.
Love you too, Muffin. You have a great night. Okay. Didn't I tell you guys that was going to be a wonderful show? And it was, right? I know that's right. I got some resources before I end the show. All right. Rent stabilization. 718-739-6400. All right. I also put it in the chat. All right. Job help and assistance. 718-233-3301. Yes. Okay. And all right. The Anchor House. If you're dealing with drugs or you're dealing with having issues with drugs, okay, I wanted to call it something else, but whatever you're having a problem with, these people are very nice. 718-771-0760. All right. Last but not least, I would like to thank all of my wonderful jewelry people that does the paparazzi, like the Pride, Shamika and Isaiah, who also got elevated. God bless your elevation to pastor and having your own church. Thank you, Taina Rodriguez and Melissa Byers, for also with the paparazzi, dealing with all my little jewelry and stuff like that. Well, bless your life. Next week, I shall be having Lady J. That's right. Lady J will be on the Lisa Baxter show. That's right. Charlene. Yes. So tune in and thank you very much. Bless your life. Kobo, Shay, Shondo. Enjoy your week. Don't work too hard. And V for victory. Good night.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kidney one. My girl, and say, this is